Hello everyone and welcome back to exercise number 41 of the SolidWorks basic tutorial series. In this video, we're going to be designing a flanged bearing block. Now, as always, designing this part with SolidWorks, we're going to be using many of the SolidWorks features, namely the extruded boss base feature and extruded cut feature. But in this video, what's different is that we're going to be using the lofted boss base tool and creating these two ribs on either side of the component. And that's the key challenge when implementing this exercise, okay? So please pay special attention when I create these two ribs. Here we see the schematic drawing for exercise number 41. We have two pictorial views showcasing the component at two different angles. We also have the top view, the section view, and the section view was taken along this horizontal line. We have the side view. I refrain from adding any hidden lines for the side view. It will only complicate the image, since of course we have all necessary details found within the section view. And also we have the bottom view. And the reason why I've added the bottom view is because if you look closely here, we have a recess. We have a pocket located on the bottom surface of the component. So we have a circular pocket, okay, circular recess, and we have a slot-shaped recess. Of course, all dimensions are provided in order to create these features within SolidWorks. And we have a set of instructions, and these set of instructions are, of course, self-explanatory. There's no need for me to go over them, but the key takeaway is that we're going to be using a material of alloy steel, right? And we have a question here that reads, what is the mass of this part in grams? And we also need to provide the answer within a certain tolerance. So after modeling this part within SolidWorks, we're going to be assigning material of alloy steel and then determining the mass of the component. That is our end goal. Okay, so looking at the main features of the component, if we zoom in closely on the isometric view, we have a base plate, and the 2D outline of the base plate is clearly seen on the bottom view here. So first of all, we're going to sketch out the 2D profile of the base plate, and then use the extruded boss base tool to create the thickness. Step number 2 would be to work on this central boss, this central cylinder. Of course, all dimensions can be found within the figure itself. And to create the cylinder, we're going to sketch out a 2D circle and then use the extruded boss base tool to create the overall height. After that, we're going to move on to step 3, which is involves creating this top flange. Of course, there's going to be plenty of sketching in the process, and then followed by an implementation of the extruded boss base tool. After that, we're going to work on creating this central protrusion here. We're going to sketch out the 2D profile, then use the extruded boss base tool. And finally, we're going to work on creating these two central bosses, boss number 1 and boss number 2, along with the openings shown here on the top flange, but also along the cylinders that we just created, okay? And of course, we also have these mounting holes on the top base flange actually, and it's pretty easy to create. You just draw a number of circles, position them correctly relative to their centers, and then use the extrude cut tool. It's not that difficult. The challenge, or should I say the difficulty when modeling this part, will be in dealing or creating these ribs here. If we look closely, these ribs are situated or lying on the curved surface, all right? So to the best of my knowledge, I don't think you can use the rib tool to help you create that. I've tried, but I just couldn't. So a number of tutorials out there actually create these sort of ribs using the lofted boss base tool, all right? So we have two ribs on either side, 1 and 2. So when I reach that point in the video, when I'm creating these two supporting ribs, please pay special attention to what I'm doing, all right? So yeah, that's the overall look and game plan of what we're going to do modeling this part. Okay, so with that aside, let's get started with exercise number 41. Okay, so we start by creating a new SolidWorks part. We set the background to plain white, and we copy exercise number 41 into SolidWorks. And let's go ahead and make this smaller. Okay, so as I said previously, we're going to start by sketching the 2D outline for the base plate of the component. And if we look at the bottom view here, we see that the base plate or the outline here can be represented by two circles. You have this larger circle and smaller circle, and they're connected by using two horizontal lines. So to get started, let's go ahead and select the top plane, sketch, let's drag this upwards next to the origin. And let's go ahead and draw two circles. Starting from the origin, let's go ahead and draw a larger circle. So I'm going to use the mouse gestures for the remainder of this video. So click on your right mouse button and then move your mouse to the right. Okay. And let's go ahead and draw one larger circle. Hover your mouse over the origin and then move your mouse or cursor to the right. And then draw a second circle. Okay? Looking at the schematic drawing here, the diameter of the larger circle should be 110 millimeters. So let's go ahead and activate the Smart Dimension tool. The diameter of this larger circle should be 110. The diameter of the smaller circle should be 80 millimeters. The distance between these two circles should be 80 millimeters. Again, this is according to the figure here. As you can see, the distance between this point and this point is 80 millimeters. Now, what we need to do is close off the sketch using two horizontal lines. So let's go ahead and activate the line tool. And starting from this point up here, let's go ahead and draw a horizontal line. That's 1 and 2. Activate the trim tool, and let's go ahead and delete any extra entities, leaving behind the basic sketch for the base profile. All right. Let's set the relation between these 2 points as horizontal. Okay, now the sketch is fully defined. Let's go ahead and extrude this. Press S on your keyboard, select Extrude Boss Base. And looking at the side view, we see that the base plate should have a thickness of 10 millimeters. By default, it's already set to 10. Just click OK. All right, so that creates the base flange for the component. Now we're going to work on creating this central boss here, which is basically a cylinder mounted on the base plate. So select this top face, sketch, activate the circle tool, and starting from the origin, draw a circle. The diameter of this central boss should be 60 millimeters. So activate the Smart Dimension tool, and the diameter of this circle should be 60 millimeters. All right. Now let's go ahead and extrude this. Press the S key, extrude boss base. From the figure, the central boss here should have its height of 55 millimeters. So go ahead and type 55, press enter, enter. All right. So that creates the central boss. Now let's work on creating the top flange here. As we see in the isometric view, there's a top flange. So let's go ahead and select this top face, sketch, activate the circle tool, starting from the origin, draw one larger circle. Again, what I'm doing here is basically sketching the 2D profile for this top flange, and then I'm going to use the Extrude Boss Base tool to create the thickness. Okay, and the diameter of this circle right here that was just drawn should be 35 millimeters. It's the radius, so the diameter should be 70, right? So this should be 70 millimeters. Go ahead and activate this circle tool again, and let's draw another circle. Hover over the origin, move vertically upwards, and draw a circle. All right. Activate the Smart Dimension tool, and this circle here should have a radius of 18 millimeters. So the diameter of this circle should be 18 times 2. And the distance, if we look closely here, the distance between the center of these 2 circles should be 43 millimeters. So the distance between this point and the origin should be 43 millimeters. All right. Now let's go ahead and close off the sketch using 2 tangent lines. So let's go ahead and draw 2 tangent lines, 1 and 2. Set the relation between these 2 points as vertical. All right. And let's make sure that these 2 lines are tangent. So go ahead and select these lines and set the relation as tangent. Tangent. Okay, the rest of the lines are tangent. What we need to do now is draw a center line, a horizontal center line. All right. And we're going to mirror these entities to the other side. So go ahead and select these lines right here, in addition to this center line, and select mirror entities. All right. So that automatically mirrors everything for you. Now go ahead and select the Trim Entities tool, and let's go ahead and delete any extra entities, leaving behind the basic sketch for the profile of the top flange. All right. Set the relation here as tangent, and this should be tangent as well. Tangent, and yeah, the tangent option is not here. Anyway, so I think we're done with that. Press the S key, extrude boss base, and we're going to extrude this top flange to a thickness of 10 millimeters. As you can see here in the side view, it's 10 millimeters. So go ahead and type a thickness of 10, press enter, enter again to finalize everything. Now we're going to work on creating this top boss here. So select this top face, sketch, activate the circle tool from the origin, draw a circle. Activate the Smart Dimension tool, And the diameter of this top boss here, if we look at the side view, should be 58 millimeters. So the diameter of this circle should be 58 millimeters. Press S on your keyboard again, extrude, and we're going to extrude this, if we look at the side view, to a thickness of 6 millimeters. Press 6, enter, enter. All right. Now we're going to work on creating the opening that runs all the way through the component, this central bore. So go ahead and select this top face, sketch, activate the circle tool from the origin, draw a circle, activate the smart dimension tool, and this bore here should have a diameter of 40 millimeters. So assign a diameter of 40 millimeters. Press the S key, extrude cut, drag this arrow all the way to the other side, through the component, press OK. All right. Now what we need to work on is creating this central protrusion here. So to do that, let's go ahead and select this top face, sketch, and let's select circle and hover over this curved edge here, and starting from this point, draw a circle. All right. This circle, this region right here, should have a diameter of 42 millimeters, since the overall width of the component of this protrusion here should be 42 millimeters, corresponding to the diameter. So activate the smart dimension tool, and this should be 42 millimeters. And we need to close off this sketch with the bottom portion right here. So go ahead and select this edge, convert entities, normal, and what we need to do is activate the line tool, and starting from this point all the way, draw a horizontal line. 1 and 2. Make sure the lines are horizontal. Activate the Two Entities tool and delete any extra lines, leaving behind the basic 2D profile that we need. All right. Now press S on your keyboard, extrude boss base, and we're going to extrude this region, or this 2D sketch, to an overall height of 30 millimeters. So go ahead and type 30 millimeters, enter, enter. All right. Now we need to work on creating this boss here at the top. Look here, we have a boss, and looking at the top view, we see that we have a diameter of 30 millimeters. So what we need to do is select this top face, sketch, activate the circle tool, go ahead and draw a circle at any position right now, set the diameter as 30 millimeters. The distance, if we look closely here, between the center of the origin, this point, and this circle should be 65 millimeters. So the distance between this point and this point should be 65 millimeters. Okay, set the relation between these 2 points as horizontal. Sketch is fully defined. Press S on your keyboard, extrude boss base. Looking at the side view, we have a thickness of 4 millimeters. On your keyboard, press 4, enter, and then press enter again. All right. Now we need to work on creating the central bore here that runs along this boss we just created. Go ahead and select this top face, sketch, activate the circle tool, hover over the edge to show the center, draw a circle, activate the smart dimension tool, and this hole should have a diameter of 18 millimeters. So this should be 18. Press S on your keyboard, extrude cut, set the end condition as through all both directions, and then press OK. All right. Now, if we look closely here, looking at especially the section view and the bottom view, we see that we have a recess, 2 openings actually, or pockets corresponding to, for example, the center of this larger bore, and we have a slot recess up bottom here. So let's go ahead and work on that. So let's go ahead and select this bottom face, sketch. Let's go ahead and start working on this circular recess. So activate the circle tool, starting from the origin, draw a circle, activate the smart dimension tool. We see here that this recess should have a diameter of 65 millimeters. So assign a diameter of 65 millimeters. Press S on your keyboard, extrude cut. And looking at the section view of this cut, we should cut it to a depth of 5 millimeters. All right. So press 5, enter, and then press enter again. So that creates recess number 1. Now we're going to work on creating a second recess. So press this face, sketch, activate the slot tool, and let's go ahead and draw a slot at any point here. All right. Now the question is, now this is where people, find things tricky, is where am I going to position the center of this slot relative to what? Here we see that we have a pitch circle that corresponds to the origin or the center of this larger circle. So let's go ahead and draw this pitch circle. Activate the circle tool, hover over this edge, draw a circle. All right. Activate the Smart Dimension tool, and we see here that this pitch circle has a PCD of 60 millimeters. So go ahead and set this as 60 millimeters. Convert this to a construction geometry. Set the relation. Let's wait 1 second. There seems to be a problem. Okay. Set the relation between this circle and this circle as tangent. All right. And what we need to do next, let me just check this for a second. This circle and this circle as tangent. Okay, let me just delete this slot here. Let's go ahead and draw another slot, set the relation to this point and this point as tangent. All right, so now it's fixed. So what we need to do now is activate the Smart Dimension tool, and looking closely here, we see that the dimensions of the slot should be 22 by 50. So the distance between this edge and this edge should be 22 millimeters. And the length of this edge should be 50. All right, so now the sketch here is fully defined. Press S on your keyboard, extrude cut. And we're going to cut this to a thickness or depth of 7.5 millimeters. 7.5. Okay, so that creates the two openings or recesses that are at the bottom. We need to move on to work on the mounting holes that are on the base plate. So let's go ahead and select this top face, sketch, select circle, and from the origin, draw a circle. All right. Convert this circle to a construction geometry. Activate the Smart Dimension tool, and looking closely here at the bottom view, we see that the pitch circle should have a diameter of 85 millimeters. So this should be 85 millimeters. All right, and then we need to position 4 holes that are equally spaced on this pitch circle. How do we do that? We only do that by drawing a single line. So let's go ahead and draw a horizontal line presenting the x-axis. Let's activate the center line tool again, and let's go ahead and draw the y-axis all the way to the top here. All right. Select center line again, and this time draw a center line starting from the origin all the way to the perimeter of the circle. Okay. Activate the Smart Dimension tool and set the angle between this line and this line. Let's do that again. The angle between these two lines as 45 degrees. All right. Activate the circle tool, and starting from this point, go ahead and draw the circle. The diameter of this circle, we see here that we have 6 circles, 4 on this circle, and then we have 2 on the other side. And each circle should have a diameter of 10.5 millimeters. So activate the Smart Dimension tool, and this should be 10.5 millimeters. So now select Circular Sketch Pattern, Entities to Pattern, go ahead and select this circle, and then select OK. All right. Press S on your keyboard, extrude cut, and drag the arrow all the way to the other side, and then click OK. So that creates the 4 mounting holes that are situated on this larger circle. Now we're going to work on creating these 2 mounting holes here. So likewise, we're going to select this top face, sketch. We're going to activate the circle tool, and starting from this point right here, we're going to draw a circle. Activate the Smart Dimension tool, and we see that the pitch circle should have a diameter of 60 millimeters. So set this to 60. Convert this to a construction geometry, and we're going to repeat the same process as we did earlier. Draw 2 lines, well, 1 horizontal line and 1 vertical line, representing the x and y axis for this circle. Then go ahead and draw another line here at any point. Set the angle. Again, if we look closely here, the angle should be 45 degrees, right? 45 degrees. Activate the circle tool. From this point, go ahead and draw a circle. Set the diameter of the circle as 10.5. select this circle and this horizontal line, mirror entities, and there you have it. Press S on your keyboard, extrude cut, then click OK. And that creates the two mounting holes on this side of the base plate. All right, so looking at the top flange here, we have an opening. We have a slot opening actually. So we're going to work on creating that right now. So go ahead and select this top face, sketch, select, or actually just go ahead and select the slot tool and then draw a slot. Okay. Now, looking closely here, the position of the slot, the center of the slot should correspond to the center of this circle that we've drawn earlier. So what we need to do is very simply set the relation. We just drag this to the side here. We can't do that. Delete. Just draw this again. This time, starting from here. Okay. Now it's good. Activate the Smart Dimension tool. And looking at the slot here should be 10 by 10. All right. So the diameter here for these two semicircles should be 10 millimeters. And the distance of this line, or the length of this line, should be 10 millimeters. Activate the center line tool and then go ahead and draw a center line. We're going to mirror this slot here to the other side. Select the slot, press Control key, and then select this center line, mirror entities. All right. Press S on your keyboard, extrude cut, and then select OK. That creates the opening for the top flange. All right, so what else do we have? We have one more feature that we need to work on, and that is supporting ribs. If we look closely here, we notice that these ribs are not ordinary. These ribs actually are projected on a curved surface. So that's a challenge there. If you have a flat surface, for example, the bottom surface is flat and the top surface is flat, you could use the rib tool right here in the features tab, or you can just sketch out a triangular sketch and then you use the extrude boss face tool. But since we have a curved surface here, we can't use either of the two approaches. So we're going to have to use the lofted boss face tool. Okay, so I need you to pay close attention to what I'm doing right now. So to start, we're going to work on creating this supporting rib right here. All right. So go ahead and select this top face, sketch, select corner rectangle, and let's go ahead and just draw a rectangle here. Activate the Smart Dimension tool, and the length of this edge should be 8 millimeters. All right. Set the relation between the center of the midpoint here and the origin as horizontal. All right. And what we need to do now is select this top face and convert entities. Okay, as well as this side right here. Convert entities. Trim entities, and then delete any extra dimensions that we have here, leaving behind the sketch shown right here. All right. So what do we do now? We're going to go to features, or for that exit sketch, go to features, split line. And here we've already by default select sketch 14, which is this sketch I just created. And now here's going to ask us for the curved surface that you want to project this 2D sketch onto. So go ahead and select this face and then select OK. There you have it. All right. Now we need to use the lofted boss base tool. So go ahead and select lofted boss base. Let's put this to the side here. Okay, we can do that. So let's first of all select this projection right here. And for the sketch, let's go to the drop-down menu here and then select sketch 14. All right, so there it is. There was a minor hiccup in the system here. Anyway, so then press OK. That creates the supporting rib for this component, this side right here. So what we need to do now is just very simply just hide the sketch. Okay, and then we need to repeat the same process for the other side here. So what do? We just put this to the side here, select this top face, sketch, and repeat the same process. Select corner rectangle, draw a rectangle, activate the Smart Dimension tool. The length of this edge should be 8 millimeters. Set the relation between this point, the midpoint of this edge, and the origin as horizontal. All right. Select this surface, convert entities. All right. And then select trim entities and go ahead and delete any extra lines that we have, leaving behind the base sketch. All right. Okay, and then press OK. Now what you need to do is very simply go to Features, Curves, Split Line, and select on this curved surface, and then select OK. All right, so that creates the projection of this sketch onto the curved surface. So now we need to repeat the same process. Go to Lofted Boss Base. Here, select this surface or this curved profile, and let's go ahead and select this sketch right here. Let's go ahead and align this properly all the way to the other side here. And then select OK. And that creates the second rib for the component. All right, so are we done yet? No, we still have one more thing to do, and that is there are certain fillets that we need to add. If we look closely here at the pictorial view, we see that we have a fillet on this edge and a fillet on the bottom edge right here. And looking at the detailed drawings, we don't have any dimensions. But if we look closely at the notes, it says here, unless stated otherwise, all fillets have a radius of 2 millimeters. Okay, so by default, we're going to use a fillet radius of 2 millimeters. So go ahead and select Fillets, assign a fillet radius of 2 millimeters, and select this edge and this bottom edge right here. And then select OK. All right, so yeah, I think that completes this exercise. Go ahead and delete this image. But before that, let's actually assign a material. So right click here, edit material. We need to use alloy steel. So scroll down, select alloy steel, apply, close. Now we need to determine the mass of this part. So delete this image. To do that, go to evaluate and mass properties. And we can see here very clearly that the mass of the component is 2,556. 2,556 grams. That is our final answer. Okay, so that concludes exercise number 41. I hope you all enjoyed this video. If you have any comments or questions, please leave them down in the comment section below. The main challenge for this component here, if you noticed, was actually creating these supporting ribs on either sides of the component. If there's a better way, if there's a more efficient way of creating the ribs here, please let me know. I'd love to learn from you all. Yeah, so until we meet again, I'll see you all in exercise number 42. Bye-bye.